Hey everyone, it's Dave from Dave's Ohio Barbecue. In today's video, I am going to show you how to take an apple and go from this to this. Stick around. So whether you're making it for Thanksgiving dinner as a side, or you're making it just to have in the basement, can it up, keep it for the winter, or if you're making it to use as baby food, applesauce is a really kind of universal substance to have on hand. I use it a lot of times when I'm making up different sauces and stuff for barbecue. You can use it to replace oil in a lot of like baking recipes. So it's a really kind of versatile food to keep on hand. My wife and I, we kind of like to keep things a little natural. My wife doesn't like food that has a lot of ingredients in it. She's not looking for chemicals that she can't pronounce, and she's not looking for, 47 ingredients to make, peanut butter. She wants things to be natural for the kids. So one of the things we got into years ago was canning our own food and putting it in the basement for the winter and the next spring. We make salsa, we make, marinara sauce or spaghetti sauce, whatever you want to call it. We make applesauce, we can some other fruits, peaches, make jellies, things like that. Our applesauce recipe is really, really simple. It involves 3 ingredients: apples, water, and then just a little tiny splash of lemon juice as a preservative. And that's it. The rest of it is just heat and effort to make this. There's a couple ways you can do this applesauce. You can take the time to peel every single apple, and then you can, slice them up, or you can use one of those apple slicers that takes the core out for you, but basically you're looking to get just slices of apple without the core or the seeds in it. And then put that in a pot with a little bit of water in the bottom. We put about 3 cups of water in for our giant pot we have here. And you just cook until it starts getting really, really mushy, really, really mushy. And then if the peels are off, you can smash it either using a potato masher. You can use like an egg mixer if you have one of those, a beater. You can use a fork, but basically you're just trying to get it smushed down to consistency that you want. For us though, we kind of save time with it. We've got one of these apple slicers here. It's called a Johnny Appleseed or Johnny Apple Slicer, something like that. You can get them online. Amazon has them. I think we bought this up in Vermont somewhere. And what it does is you can have it peel the apple for you. And then it also slices it up into thinner slices as it removes the core. It's really handy. We actually cook our apples down with the skins on. We feel it gives it a little bit of a different color. It's kind of fun actually. Some years our applesauce comes out pale yellow. Some years our applesauce comes out hot pink. It just depends on what variety of apple we have. This year we're using Cortland's, Jonah Golds, and some Golden Delicious. So we leave the skins on and we cook it down about 3 cups of water in this giant pot. If you have a smaller pot, obviously use less water. And cook it until everything is soft, and if you take a wooden spoon, you can just smush right through the apples. I mean, they fall apart. Now to remove the skins, what we do is we have this attachment for our KitchenAid mixer. It's a food mill. It basically attaches to the end of the meat grinding attachment if you have that. There are also hand crank food mills you can get for pretty cheap. They look like this, and it'll do basically the same thing. But what it does is it squeezes all the juice and all the good pulp through this little wire, through this little mesh right here. And what comes out the other end is all the solids. If there's any seeds, if the skins are on there, that all comes out the other end. And what you're left with is just nice, perfectly, smooth applesauce. Once I run all the apples through there and I get this pot here, this pot is 8 quarts. I put 1 tablespoon of lemon juice in per 8 quarts. The amount really isn't that critical. If you put too much in, you might have a little bit of a lemon flavor in your applesauce, which isn't that bad. If you put too little in, you'll never notice. But basically, the reason it's in there is just to kind of preserve it and give it a little extra boost of acidity, just to make sure nothing goes wrong. Now that the apple's sauce, this would be the time where you can add some flavor to it. If you want to add cinnamon to it, add cinnamon. Add it to as strong as you want it to be. You can taste test it to make sure it's the right amount. If you want to add nutmeg or something like that, you know, whatever it is, do it. We make ours au naturel because we've got some people in the house that like it with cinnamon, some people that don't. This way, when we crack this jar open, you can sprinkle some cinnamon on top of your applesauce and you'll get the same effect. Once the applesauce is done, we keep it hot. Now we're going to start jarring it. If you've never jarred or canned, even though you do it in jars, it's really important to start with nice hot jars. The reason is you're going to be putting hot applesauce into the jar, then you're going to be putting the jar into hot water. If you have too much of a temperature differential, your jars could crack and then the applesauce could leak all into your pot. You know, it's a mess. We've had it happen before with peaches, and it's not anything you want to happen. So what we do is, in an empty dishwasher, we usually run a bunch of jars through just like a hot rinse cycle first to get them really nice and hot. If you don't want to waste the water to do that, you can just take a pot with a couple inches of water in it, put the jars in the open side down, and just kind of heat the water up and get them nice and steamed and warm. That works really well. So with your hot jar, you want to fill it up. Now with ours, we're going to leave about a ½ inch of headspace at the top. And what headspace is that little gap of air. You need that. You need that gap of air to seal down the can when you put the lid on. If you fill it all the way to the top, there's not enough room for movement of the lid, and the lid really has to be sucked down. We fill it till there's about a ½ inch of headspace on the top. We put a lid on there. Nowadays, you don't have to heat the lids up in hot water. My wife still does it because she's a creature of habit. But you can just put them on straight out of the box, put a band on it loosely, okay? And then you're going to put it into a pot of water. We have this pot here. It's got a nice little rack at the bottom for holding all the jars, and everything works out great. But any pot that you can put the jar in should work fine. Fill the pot up so there's about an inch more water than there is jars. So, you know, the water needs to go about an inch higher than the top of the jars there. And the way we can it, and I know there's many different ways to do it, but this is how we do it. We bring the pot to a boil. Once it's boiling, we let it, you know, stay at a pretty decent boil for about 20 minutes. Then we turn off the heat, let it sit in the hot water for another 10 minutes, and then we remove them and put them on a towel to dry. Now what you're listening for is that popping noise. These lids have a little button on it, and you know that your jar is sealed properly when that button gets sucked down, because that means it's an airtight seal and it is sealed in the freshness. So when you hear this noise, ooh, I love that noise. That's my favorite noise in canning. When you hear that noise, then you know you are in business. So we ended up here with 40 quarts and 1 pint of applesauce. That's a lot. I think we got that out of 2 bushels of apples that we bought from a local orchard. And that's it. Applesauce from apple to jar. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell to get notifications. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Dave's Ohio Barbecue. And make sure that leave me some comments or some suggestions down below. It's where I get a lot of ideas for my videos, and I have many videos coming out here soon. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.